Most people are familiar with Gene Simmons as the bassist, co-lead singer, and co-founder of the rock band Kiss, or maybe from his reality show Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. But did you know Gene Simmons once tried to be an actor? Many Kiss fans are aware of this as it's a source of contention between Simmons and Kiss co-founder Paul Stanley, who resented Gene's lack of involvement in Kiss during this acting period. Simmons was actually drawn to movies before he took an interest in music. In his 2001 autobiography, Simmons describes going to the movies with his mother in Israel. "We went to the movie, but we couldn't afford to go inside. So my mother held me in her lap outside of the theater, and we watched the movie, which was shown on a big screen without a roof. It was amazing. I was transfixed." Once he came to America, Gene discovered television and shows like The Adventures of Superman furthered his fandom and love for movies. Kiss tried their hand at making a movie with Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park in 1978, which I've covered on this channel a couple times. But that was a TV movie of the week deal. Gene wanted to be in movies and go beyond just being the guy in Kiss.
"There's a little problem about that, Sergeant. I can't have any witnesses. It's too messy."
I don't know why it is that people have limited visions, horizons. If they think that, well, you write books, you shouldn't be a performer, or you're a musician, you shouldn't be an actor, or you're an actor, you shouldn't be a president. Once you do everything there is to do within a medium, a form, if you pride yourself on being creative, you don't want to wind up repeating everything you've done. You wind up being a caricature of yourself.
Gene called casting director Mike Fenton and basically declared that he wanted to be in movies, and I guess Fenton just rolled with it, 'cause sure, why not? Fenton connected Gene with Michael Crichton, a filmmaker and novelist known for the original Westworld movie and the Jurassic Park novels.
Once we had Tom Selleck in the central role, we needed a very good villain and somebody who could be sufficiently strong to work opposite him. And our first thought, because Tom is so enormously popular, is to take someone who is not an actor. That was how we arrived at Gene Simmons.
Runaway, written and directed by Crichton, was released on December 14th, 1984. It's set in the future where robots are used to assist people cook and clean. They also do construction and farm work. But when they malfunction and pose a threat, there's a division within the police department to deal with these runaways. Tom Selleck plays the lead, one of these cops that deals with the runaways. Gene plays the villain, Luther, who has developed these chips that turn robots into psycho killers. He also has heat-seeking missiles and robot spiders. But they're not giant spiders, so they suck and are losers. Selleck has to stop Gene, who plans to sell his tech to terrorists or something. And then it becomes a mutual vendetta kind of thing. It's a decent little movie. Selleck is a solid lead, and it's got some fun 80s cheese to it with these silly robots and weapons. The movie's biggest problem is Gene, who I don't think is very good in it. He's kind of flat, very stone-faced, and boring. And when he does try to show emotion, it's certainly something.
That's good, Ramsey, but not good enough.
I also don't think he knows how to run. The movie got mixed reviews. Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel both gave it a thumbs down on their show, decrying it as a generic chase movie. It currently sits at a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. It also didn't do well financially. It had a budget of about $8 million, and it only made about $6.7 million at the box office. So, a bomb. But I think it's worth checking out. If you're into cheesy 80s sci-fi thrillers, I think it's worth watching.
I think Gene's got wonderful acting instincts, and this isn't going to be his last movie.
In his 2014 autobiography, Paul Stanley said he saw one of Gene's movies and was embarrassed by it. Leave your own guesses in the comments what movie he saw. My personal guess is Never Too Young to Die.
This is Gene Simmons of the rock group Kiss in 1982. This is Gene Simmons with Kiss after the band cleaned up its act, so to speak, and lost the makeup. Now Simmons is back in makeup of a different sort for his role in the upcoming spy film, Never Too Young to Die. Simmons is playing entertainer Velvet von Ragnar, a character who needs a bit of explanation.
The character I play is supposed to be this sort of very bad person, but has mixed sexual sort of ideas in his mind. It is a hermaphrodite, half man, half woman. And I was born this way. So the Lord's been good to me, don't you think?
As you can see, this is the movie where Gene dresses in drag. Released on June 13th, 1986, this was directed by Gil Bettman, with a screenplay by Stephen Paul and Anton Fritz. The movie also stars a young John Stamos and Vanity. Stamos plays a college gymnast whose father is a super spy played by George Lazenby. Gene is the film's villain, a hermaphrodite terrorist. Gene fully admitted to not having read the script before accepting the role, by the way. Gene kills Lazenby, which leads Stamos to find Lazenby's spy partner, Vanity, and they team up to stop Gene from poisoning the world's water supply or some shit. Again, Stamos is just a college gymnast. And Vanity is less a super spy and more just ridiculously hot. That's her role here, just hot. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It is insufferable. I can see some enjoying the camp of it, but not me. Boring direction, bland action, bad acting, and a lame as fuck plot. Speaking of bad acting, let's talk about Gene. It is a bizarre 180 from his Runaway performance, where I thought he was very wooden. Here he's wildly over the top, which props for going for it, I guess. It kind of just sounds like everyone's bad impression of Mark Hamill's Joker. It's a horrible performance. Stamos was hoping this would be his big break from TV, which did not happen. The movie was basically ignored. It doesn't have a critical consensus on Rotten Tomatoes because there's literally only one review there. I also couldn't really find any concrete info on box office or budget. I saw a few sites that listed the budget around $3 million, and I found one source that said the box office was $130,000. These are not reliable numbers, but it's what I found.
Wake up, sleepyhead. It's body time!
Gene's next film project was Trick or Treat, released on October 24th, 1986. It was directed by Charles Martin Smith, with a screenplay by Joel Soyson, Charles S. Murphy, and Rhett Topham. Trick or Treat is about this loser kid who summons the spirit of a recently deceased rock star by playing a haunted record backwards to get revenge on his bullies. Gene was offered the role of the rock star, but turned it down as he felt it was too obvious. Gene instead plays Nuke, the local DJ, and he really only has one scene. But to be honest, he's pretty good. Nothing like Oscar-worthy or anything, but he's quite natural. I like him. He has some lines that I think are pretty memorable, and it's the best scene of the movie. The movie itself is quite bad, very silly. I think it's trying to be a legit horror movie, but often comes across as an awkward comedy. There's a scene where the evil rock star ghost trips and gets stuck in a toilet. Like, what is this? Even the premise sounds like a bad SNL sketch. I stole that last joke from my best friend. The movie does have a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's only based on 8 reviews. Its budget was around $3.5 million, and it made roughly $6.7 million at the box office, so they might have actually made a tiny bit of money on this one. After that, we got Wanted Dead or Alive, released on January 16th, 1987. Directed by Gary Sherman and written by Michael Patrick Goodman, Brian Taggart, and Sherman, this is a sequel of sorts to a 50s television show of the same name that starred Steve McQueen. Gene plays the villain, a terrorist, and it is the most boring movie of these. Never Too Young to Die is worse, but it's also a fascinating train wreck that you can't quite look away from. This one is just really dull. It'll put you to sleep. The movie will just cut between cops yelling at or about the lead character Rutger Hauer, who's a bounty hunter, and Gene's character looking bored out of his mind. It is a slog to watch. The film has a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's only based on 10 reviews. It had a $4.5 million budget and made about $7.6 million at the box office. So like Trick or Treat, maybe a small profit here. Our last film is Red Surf, released in 1990. Directed by H. Gordon Booz with a screenplay by Vincent Robert. This film flies so under the radar that it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Red Surf is a crime thriller, somewhat of a poor man's Point Break. George Clooney plays a former pro surfer who currently deals drugs due to an injury. His girlfriend, played by Dee Dee Pfeiffer, gets pregnant, so he plans one last job to get enough money to stop dealing. Gene plays his tech guy. He supplies Clooney and co. with these jet skis they use for their drug runs, and then guns at the very end. kind of a wise sage that was a Vietnam vet. Clooney gets blown up and dies because he insisted on doing this job even though literally everyone told him not to. Clooney's best friend and Gene lead an attack on the mafia boss's house, who was responsible for Clooney's death, and wow, I am probably not selling this at all. Honestly, I kind of liked this one. It's the best movie of the bunch. It's a decent little crime drama about family and stuff, and then it becomes an insane action thing with the guy from Kiss in the last 10 minutes. It's nothing spectacular, but I enjoyed it. At this point, Gene put all his focus back into Kiss. None of his various 80s ventures really paid off. We've gone over his record label, and all his acting career has to show for itself is a bunch of movies no one remembers, if they ever knew of them in the first place, all currently sitting unwatched on Tubi. As a Kiss fan, it's frustrating because the Kiss albums of the day really suffered from Gene's lack of focus. These Kiss albums are worse, so that Gene can dress in drag and fight the guy from Full House. I'm low-key annoyed by that. But I could see these being fun for a bad movie night. It was a journey, and I hope you enjoyed taking it with me.